The Samsung Galaxy Note 10 Plus. Is it still worth it in 2021? Let's discuss. What's up, YouTube? Mike here with another video, and today I wanted to talk about the Samsung Galaxy Note 10 Plus. Now, is this thing still a viable option in 2021? Well, spoiler alert, I think so. So a little backstory. I've had this now for about 2 months. I ended up selling my Z Fold 2 in anticipation of the Fold 3, and the Fold 3 ended up kind of be a bust. But long story short, as an interim phone, I went on Amazon Renewed and I got this thing for about $400. And if I remember, I'll post a link in the description below. But this has always been one of my favorite phones. As far as design wise, it's probably it's probably the best looking Note. I mean, it's subjective whether you think the Note 20 Ultra looks a little better with the new camera hump, but overall, I just love this boxy, squared off design. I mean, I think Samsung knocked it out of the park with this. And this phone is still extremely powerful. So, real quick, I'm going to go over the specs. Like I said, this phone's been out for a couple years now, but this has got the Snapdragon 855 processor, which is still no slouch. I mean, you can do quite a bit with that. I'll show you a demo. I mean, this thing still runs DeX flawlessly. It displays it on a 4K widescreen monitor. I edit videos on this. My last 3 videos on my channel were all edited on this using Adobe Premiere Rush. And those are all 4K, so this thing has definitely still got some horsepower. And not only with the Snapdragon 855, this thing has 12 gigabytes of RAM, and it's got 256 gigabytes of internal storage, which is expandable. So one of the good things about the Note 10 Plus is it still allows you to use an SD card, which Samsung's really gotten away from that. So unless you want, unless you get the Note 20 Ultra or this, you're not going to get an SD card expansion anymore, except on some of their mid-range lower models. Now this is your typical glass on glass sandwich, so glass back, glass front. It is a fingerprint magnet, so I keep a case on it also so I can mount this in my car. I've just got a little case where I can magnetize it to my car, but the back definitely picks up smudges. So if you're not going to use a case, I would at least maybe put a skin on the back, or else you're going to be constantly wiping this thing with fingerprints. But as far as the front goes, I don't have a screen protector on it, never have, and it's been durable. I mean, it doesn't really have any big scratches or gouges, and I didn't want to put a screen protector on it because it makes the ultrasonic fingerprint scanner kind of wonky sometimes. But this has got a big 6.8-inch display, whereas the Note 20 Ultra now it's got a 6.9-inch display. But the display on this is bright, vibrant, beautiful. Now it's only 60 hertz, which personally does not bother me. I mean, 120 hertz is great, but on such a small screen, I really don't see the benefit unless you're doing like they do in all the videos where they're like scrolling super fast. Which, are you going to do that in real life? No. So honestly, I don't think 120 hertz makes a big difference to me. But this is definitely a beautiful display, OLED, Quad HD. I mean, just a gorgeous display. And in reality, with the exception of the processor, this is as good as any phone currently in 2021 when it comes to the hardware. I mean, the screen, the build, everything, the S Pen is just top notch. Now, this particular model is LTE only, but there is a 5G model of this that you can get if you are so inclined. Now the battery on this, I think it's 4,300 milliamp. Don't quote me on that. You can Google it, but who cares how big it is? Essentially, this is an all-day phone. So I haven't had any issues with this getting me through the day. I take it off the charger about 6 a.m. and then it goes back on about 10 a.m. and I'm still probably about 20-30% depending on what I'm doing. So battery life on this is still good. And the good thing about this is it's got 45-watt fast charging. So if you do need to top off during the day, it's got fast wired or wireless charging. You hook it to a 45-watt charger, this thing's going to juice up pretty dang quick. I want to kind of talk about the cameras on this. This thing has got awesome cameras. And when this came out a couple years ago, I mean, the cameras were pretty much top of the line, state of the art. But it's got, as you can see, 3 cameras on the back, 1 on the front. And I'll throw a little graphic up with those. But the camera specs on this, it's got a 16 megapixel ultra wide on the rear, a 10 megapixel sensor. I can't say megapixel, a 10 megapixel sensor on the front. It's also got a wide angle and a telephoto, which are the wide and telephoto are both 12 megapixel sensors, and then it's got a depth sensor. It's got a OIS, all that good stuff. It also shoots 4K 60 on the rear, 4K, I think 60 or 30 on the front. Let me see real quick. So it'll do 4K 60 front or rear camera on this thing. And again, the pictures coming out of this and the video are spectacular. Like I said, my last 3 videos were shot with this phone. So if you want to go back and watch them to get an idea. And I recently went on a vacation and I took this, and this was my camera. So I took tons of pictures and videos. So I'll throw you guys some samples up here of that trip, just so you can kind of get an idea of what the pictures and videos look on this phone. But make no mistake, even in 2021, with this being 2 years old, the camera on this is still fantastic. It's really one of the best out there. Now, obviously, you don't have the 108 megapixel that you get with, the Note 20 Ultra or the S21 Ultra for that fact. But the cameras on this, I think, are better than what were on the Z Fold 2 by quite a bit. So you will not be disappointed with the cameras on this. I mean, yes, it only does 2 times optical zoom, none of that crazy space zoom. But having said that, the cameras on this are still fantastic. So to be honest with you, honestly, I have no complaints on this phone as far as the hardware goes. That includes the camera, the battery. I mean, the performance on this thing has been great. I haven't done anything that slowed this down. The only caveat with this phone is that Samsung obviously is not as good as, let's say, Apple when it comes to how long they support their devices. So this is currently running Android 11 at this point, and it's going to get Android 12 guaranteed. But whether it gets anything after that, it's kind of up to Samsung. But you're guaranteed to get Android 12 on this, but I don't know if it'll ever get 13. And as far as security updates, you're going to get at least 2 more years. And it's kind of on Samsung if they want to do it longer than that. So I would say if you look at this device, you get a good price on it. Like I said, to me, I got it for $400, which I think was fantastic, especially since this thing came out at $1,200 when it was first released. But just plan on only getting this supported for 2 more years. So to me, $400, 2 years, I think that's a good investment because a good majority of folks, I mean, probably don't keep their phones much more than 2 years. A lot of people will upgrade every year, and I would say the majority probably upgrade every 2 years, and then you got your kind of smaller population that keeps their phones until they essentially die. But for $400, if you keep this for 2 years, I think you'll be more than happy. But obviously, you don't want to pay any more than that. You can go on the Samsung website and still buy this brand new, and they're still charging you almost full price, which obviously I wouldn't do that. But if you can get this secondhand, and I always recommend Amazon Renewed because you get a 90-day return policy on it. So it's essentially a 90-day warranty that you get on these things. So $400, I would say go for this hands down. I mean, it's definitely a great phone in 2021 and beyond. So I think if you get this, it's going to last you at least 2 more years and you'll be more than happy with it. But with that, this was just a quick video. This thing's been out forever, but I've been using it for the last 2 months straight and really enjoying it. So as always, if you have any questions on this, you want to see anything specific, just ask it, leave it in the comments. I'll do my best to answer you. And as always, if this video helped you out and you enjoyed it, make sure you give it a thumbs up. If you haven't subscribed, I would appreciate it if you do so. Thanks.